Hi, my name's Tim Johnson. I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I am what you think I am. Just let that sink in a second. How many of us present our true selves to the world? I know I didn't for many, many years. How many of us have this persona that we present, this act that we put on for everybody? For me, it started at school. And I always felt a bit out of place at school and desperately wanted to fit in, to be accepted, seeking approval from my peers and those around me. I was quite a lonely child. To do that, I formulated this act because I had no confidence at all in myself, in the way I looked, anything about myself really. So this act became normal for me. I became the class clown. I became the one who was always playing up in class, trying to seek approval from those people that I looked up to, if you like, those people that I wanted to accept me. And as the years went on, I became the one who was always the first to do the most stupid things, if you like, again, to gain that acceptance. And it wasn't me, because on the inside I was shaking with fear. But on the outside I presented this act to the world of this person who didn't give a shit, who was prepared to do all the crazy things in order to gain the acceptance of those around him and the approval of those around him. And as I progressed into my adult life, this act became real. It became me. It became the person who I was. I totally lost the real me, the essence of me. And how many of you are the same out there? And when you lose that essence of yourself, that real you, and you forget who you are because you constantly have this act that you present to the world, then you fall out of love with yourself. Your self-esteem drops and you literally form sort of a self-hatred, if you like. I know I did, which led me down some dark avenues into addiction, which exacerbated all those feelings, and that was all an act as well. At the end of the day, that was that person I presented to the world was another layer of skin that I put on. Everything's okay when it wasn't okay, and I was dying inside. Dying inside. You see it in people who have loads of, or appear to have loads of talent, this act that they put onto the world. People such as celebrities such as Amy Winehouse and Robin Williams, who both were mega talented, had everything, everything that you would think would, or from the outside you would think that would bring them happiness. They had massive talents, they had adoration, money, all the things, you know, the trappings, fame, approval. And yet, that was all an act that they put on to the world. And Robin Williams used to say he was laughing on the outside but crying on the inside. And when they dropped this act, they became the vulnerable human beings that sadly led to their demise, both of them. And the world is a worse place without either of them, and many other people who followed down that route. The thing is, to fall back in love with yourself and to drop this act can be extremely frightening and fearful. It can bring on feelings of great anxiety because you put on this act to the world for so long that it is you, it's become you, but it's not the real you. And thus, the self-love that you need to have to find the inner happiness which is inside you is elusive. Because to find that inner happiness inside yourself, which is there in every single one of you watching this, although you may not think it, then you need to fall back in love with yourself. You need to do that. It is to find that inner happiness. It's essential. I've made many videos on the uniqueness of you as a human being, the miracle that is you. And that's the starting point which you need to be thinking at. Embrace your uniqueness. As Rumi said, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a small drop. A miracle. What a beautiful thought. And you are a miracle. Instead of dwelling on what's missing, start dwelling on the gifts that you have to offer the world, on the uniqueness that is you, the miracle that is you. In my last video, I talked about not dying with your music inside of you. And you all have that unique music. You all have unique talents to offer the world and to offer other people and those around you. So you have to stop looking outside of yourself to find this peace and happiness that is so elusive, because you won't find it there. You have to find it inside yourself. And to do that, like I say, you're going to have to re-fall in love with yourself. And I'll tell you how to do that in a second, or attempt to do that. It's not easy. To be beautiful just means to be yourself. You don't need to be accepted by others. You just need to accept yourself. And it sounds easy and straightforward, but it isn't, and I know that. And there are going to be those of you out there watching this video who have been through some horrendous things, that you've had to put this act on and these many coats, if you like, to the world, to face the world, because of the things that have happened to you in the past. Or it could be that you're suffering from severe or acute depression or bipolar, in which case you're obviously going to need, before you attempt any of this, to talk to a professional person. But that's the starting point, to go out and do that. If you realise that to make this change and to fall back in love with yourself, you're going to need to talk to a professional person, and make the change and do that. Your thoughts are powerful. Don't think small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion, as I said in my last video. You need to work at falling back in love with that person looking back at you in the mirror. That amazing, wonderful, strong person who, after everything that's happened to them, is still standing and still fighting. And you've got so much to fall in love with, haven't you? Let's face it, your uniqueness. You may not think so at the moment. Loving yourself is not vanity, it's sanity. It's sanity. And I never used to think like this at all, or think like that. And I'm still a work in progress. I'm not there, but I'm 1,000% better than I was 3 years ago. And I no longer seek people's approval. I no longer care what other people think about me. I am who I am, and I'm proud of who I am. And that has given me back dignity and self-respect, along with that self-love that I craved for so long. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror for so many years, into my own eyes. So to become who you need to be, what do you do? How do you do this? How do you start this process of falling back in love with yourself? Well, there are several things that I did, and one of them, the first one, was to be comfortable in being alone with yourself, to sit with yourself, because that's quite a difficult thing to do. if you're used to people pleasing and putting this act on, to be alone with yourself can be quite frightening because stuff comes up, or you think you're going to feel lonely. But as Dr. Wayne Dyer said, you cannot feel lonely if you like the person you're alone with, and that's a slow process that builds up. Now, being alone for me is valuable time. It's time that I cherish and time that I use for myself. And that's the next stage that you need to work on. And that is to start this process of self-love, you need to start taking care of yourself. And that begins with all sorts of stuff, such as what you put into your body, your diet, how you exercise and move your body every day, how you groom yourself and the pride you take in yourself, the pride you take in the environment that surrounds you, your home, and the fact that you give your best to that and always do your best every day so you have no regret. Small goals, small steps, baby steps, and you start to walk towards this journey of self-love because you're taking care, you start to take care of yourself because you are a miracle and you're worth taking care of. Above anyone else in this universe, you are important. You are the one that you should be adoring, if you like, because you're worth it. All of you watching this are worth it. You may not think you are. Your self-worth might be down your arse somewhere, might be out the window. But as mine was in a dark room 3.5 years ago. But now it's a different story. And every single one of you out there can change that story. On top of that, in the mirror every day, constantly telling yourself, I am enough, I am enough, I am worthy, I am enough. Sounds stupid, but the more you say it, I used to have notes around the house with it on, I am enough, because I never used to think I was. Just as people like Amy Winehouse and Robin Williams never used to think they were enough. They had everything or appeared to have everything, yet they had nothing. Because without inner happiness and self-love and self-acceptance, you don't have anything, because they're the most, apart from your health and your family, they're the most important things you can ever own, ever have. Gratitude, constant gratitude, obviously, that's another one. You know, the fact that you are alive, you are moving, you have got food and water, perhaps a roof over your head and a bed to sleep in, and all these little things every single day. And it all adds up. And it's a constant work in progress. And the realization suddenly comes that you are worth it. And you are worth putting time and effort into. I'll read you something just quickly to finish this from the Tao Te Ching. And it's verse 44, my favourite, the last little bit of the verse. And bear it in mind and think about it. Because every single one of you out there can change your lives. Your thoughts are so powerful. It all starts with that one thought. And this last little verse says, be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realise there is nothing lacking, the whole world is yours. And you haven't got nothing lacking. It's all inside of you, waiting for you to find it. That self-acceptance. Drop that act. It is frightening. I stood up at my daughter's wedding last year, a year ago this Sunday, the year past this Sunday. And I stripped everything down during that speech in front of nearly 500 people and spoke from my heart and was the real me. And that was frightening, and I was frightened. But I fought through that. I dropped the act, became me. And it made me very happy inside to do that. For her, for myself, for everyone there. So please, Carpe Diem, seize the day today. Make today the day you change. And start finding that person that you really are. Drop the act that you've been carrying around with you for so many years. Much love to you. Take care. Bye-bye.